Welcome to Ready Layer 2 with me, Get.Small. This is a podcast for the founders, innovators, and experimenters building the future of Web3 on Arbitrum. Hey everybody, Get.Small here. Welcome to another episode of the Ready Layer 2 podcast. I'm sitting here with Blanklee from RentFun. Blank, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi Dan. Hi everyone. I'm very glad and honored to be here.
Glad to have you, and I'm honored to talk with you today. I'm excited about your project. I do a fair amount of gaming on Arbitrum. I own a whole bunch of NFTs, so the project you guys are working on just naturally appeals to me, and I think it's something very much needed in the market. Super excited to talk with you today about RentFun. So first, just to set stage for the listener here, can you just tell us what is RentFun? Who is it for, and what does it do?
Yeah, no problem. Hi everyone. RentFun, very simple. It's an NFT rental marketplace built on Arbitrum. Yeah, we are aimed to build a very easy to use and very safe NFT rental marketplace so that everyone could just pay a very fraction of the cost to use an NFT. So they could use the NFT for games or membership card or metaverse, anything that is related with NFT. That's basically what RentFun do. And our vision is very simple. We hope to make the utility of the NFT free and safe liquid between the owners and the users. So that's basically what RentFun do and our vision.
Yeah, right on. I like that, the way you phrase that right on the website. The first thing you see when you land there is that liquidity for NFT utility, right? It's very specific. It's a lot of, these are NFTs that you own that allow you to do something, to play something. As you said, token gated membership communities, Prime Ape style. I know that you guys have a thing going with them as a good example of that, but it's the utility of it that you're renting out. And yeah, some of these games and some of these things have a decent price tag to them. And for a gamer or somebody who wants to check out a community or whatever, it can be a pretty steep investment for them to try something out. So that's why this immediately appealed to me. That'd be fantastic to give people a way to try things out without making that big upfront investment. And then also, obviously, give people who already have made that investment, maybe aren't taking advantage of that utility, the ability to make some money off of that in a different way and make sure it's getting some use, et cetera. Good all around. So what brought you to this problem in the first place? Like, why was this an interesting problem for you specifically?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, I joined in this crypto in the early 2018. After the 1 years exploration, I just joined in a team called Steffi, which is a liquid staking protocol for Ethereum 2.0 and other pool tokens. The vision for Steffi is very simple. It wanted to make the staked assets liquid. So during that time, we basically saved one problem is that we want something illiquid to become liquid. Then we just capture the whole of the liquid staking and also DeFi. But during the journey, we have the empty summer and the NFT, the exploration just catch our eyes. We think, the NFTs also have a great potential user base and also great scenario, especially the Bored Ape and other metaverse like decentralized or sandbox. We noticed that the NFT utility cannot be freely liquid between the owners and the users, right? So we think, why didn't we build something to solve the problem? Means that a lot of NFTs, let's say Bored Ape or other NFTs, they are very high value. And let's say the Arbitrum, if you look into the real and the heroes, they are maybe cost about 500 USDT or something like that. Maybe they are not so high value as the Bored Ape, but they are still something, right? Then maybe some users or some gamers, so they couldn't afford. Then is there any chance for them to also play the games and also have this fun? I think there must be. Then in the last year, we think, what's the solution to achieve that? To make the liquidity of the NFT could be just very between the owners and renters. Yeah, we have developed something like the over collateral solutions, which means that the renters have to make a large deposit as the collateral. Then they could
Yep.
just borrow the NFT. It works, but it just doesn't make sense for the renters because the
Sure.
renters are cost sensitive, right?
Yep.
So I think we think, oh, it's not the perfect solution. Then another solution, a wrapped solution, which is a very new ERC token standard. It means that the owners could just stake their NFT into the platform. Then the platform issue a new wrapped NFT token for the renters. It also works, but it has a great challenge for the game, for the NFT issuance.
Yeah, so they have to change their code base throughout the game, everywhere where they touch that NFT, and then potentially open up security risks too. It's not even just the functionality of the code needs to address it, but now you have new potential security vectors everywhere where you touch that thing too.
Yeah, because we have talked a lot of developers, they are very sensitive about the technical issues, especially something will have an important influence for their contracts. That's very important. So yeah, but I have to say this solution is not a solution. Then we discover another solution called access delegation, which means that yeah, if you are a real NFT holder, then very simple. You log in RentFun marketplace. You could just first you could create a vote, which is a contract address. Then you could just transfer this your real NFT into this contract, or we call it a vote. It's totally owned by you, not by RentFun. Then this contract could just the access rights to the renters, which means that you are basically delegating the access rights of your NFTs to renters. There's no transfer of your NFT ownership. So this we call access delegation. Then for a real project, very simple. They could just integrate our SDK into their front end code, which means that when you log in, or when the renter log in the realm, then the realm front end code will check the renting contracts of RentFun through our SDK. Yeah, they could identify you also a user of Realm, then you could just access. So for a Realm project, it's very simple. It's just they could just take, let's say, 2 hours to integrate our SDK into their front end only code. So they could just identify all the renters as Realm NFT users, then log in and experience and do questing, something like that. Then we think there will be a balance between the renters and NFT owners and projects. So it's maybe a better solution. So we think that's what we want to solve the problem. So in the early February of this year, then I just jump with my good friend Kevin and other friends to build RentFun at full time. So that's our whole story and why we use this solution.
Got it. That's awesome. To recap, make sure I'm following all along here. So existing options that you guys evaluated first was that collateralized, and agreed. That only solves part of the problem, right? That allows you to rent out the utility of the NFT, sure. However, it has that high upfront cost, right? Like the renter might want to do this, and many renters will want to do this because they don't have that upfront collateral in the first place. Otherwise, they might just buy the NFT. There's still some benefit to it because maybe I want to try it out without the full risk of committing my capital to buying an NFT. So there's some benefit there, right? But now it's might not be super liquid, whatever. So there's some downside. Solves part of the problem. The ERC20 wrapper creates, we already talked about that, creates all kinds of other issues for the game. So it's not the same token. And yeah, I'm totally agree with you there from a security standpoint and a difficulty of implementation standpoint. And then you guys are doing delegation. So if I walk through the scenario as, let's say, as an owner of Realm NFTs, to stick with that example. So I have a Realm and I'm not using it, whatever, I'm busy and I'm just not taking advantage of it and it's just sitting there, but I don't want to sell it. So I can go to RentFun. I could put this up on your marketplace. Another player comes along, rents it. all that happens. This thing never leaves my wallet.
Yeah,
It ends up in the delegation contract that just basically says this token is being delegated to this renter, and then
yeah,
that renter is going to go to Realm. And Realm has to obviously do some work here. That's not magic. So Realm has to implement your SDK so that when that person comes in from the contract to log into Realm, it says, "Oh, they're using Don's land. So
yeah, yeah,
I'm
totally.
just let them play as that land." So now
Yeah,
in this game, so like when I'm playing Realm, one of the things I'm doing there, and this is, I actually do play Realm. One of the things I'm doing there is like generating resources for myself. So if I'm renting that out, I'm renting out that utility. How does that work? The renter is able to generate those resources and keep them, or what is the, like, what happens next from that standpoint?
yeah, that's a very good question. Actually this question comes as another, yeah, it's it's another big question behind all this is that do we support reward split, or let's say the renters get some rewards from by utility by renting your NFT and some rewards. How could we deal with that rewards? Actually, that's a very big question. We have do a lot of researches with different roles, let's say renters, owners. Yeah, there are some of things that we should split them, but split them is very simple, right? Let's say you win some ERC20 tokens, or maybe you win some NFT tokens. Let's say in the beacon, you could just by playing the game, right? The renter could
Mm-hmm.
just run a lot of things that. But there's a technical, to be frankly, there's a technical problem for us to split the rewards. Let's say for the beacon, you could just run some carol entities, maybe scans, maybe some equipments. Anyway, we couldn't technically to split this NFT. Another thing is that for the business side or for the demand side, maybe both the owners and the renters didn't want to split for the rewards. But let's say something very maybe easy to understand. Let's say you rent a house, right? Actually, the landlord didn't ask the renters to split your income. Yeah, you rent a house for living, for maybe for your work in New York or something like that. But the landlord usually didn't ask you to split the working income, let's say
Mm-hmm.
some percentage between them. So I think both for technically we have some issues to support this split, and for demand side I think may also make sense that we didn't support this split. So right now, you could see in our first vision of our marketplace, we didn't support the reward split. Because the first place, we wanted to make this simple and want to involve with the whole market.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at some time we could think, oh, a lot of this demand is increasing very hugely. Then we will figure out how to support this mechanism.
Very good. So problem still on the roadmap, basically. So today, I'm assuming then what's going to happen is if this renter is logging in as me, effectively, as my NFT, any rewards generated then would just go back to the owner's wallet.
No, to the renter. The reward to the
Oh,
renter.
all of it goes to the renter. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So is that something that the games have to implement as well then? So that they have to, any rewards, they're going to have to know to reroute them as well. Is that part of the SDK?
Yeah, the SDK just actually the project just could fetch the data from our contract on their own because our contract is on-chain, so it's public. But we have SDK so that they could fetch this rental data very easily. So that's the
Okay.
whole purpose of our SDK.
Okay, very cool. That makes sense. So I think that gives us a good overview of what you all are building. And I'd like to talk now about the process of actually doing it. And starting first, like what made you pick Arbitrum as your target chain?
Yeah, very good. Because we serve mainly for games because a lot of games are choosing Arbitrum. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
look at some status, you could think, oh, the top two public chains that games are choosing. One is Arbitrum, the other is Polygon. Yeah, actually, when I joined in this full time in the crypto, actually I was obsessed by the Ethereum and a lot of so it's very simple decision for us. We have a preference for the Ethereum and also the upstream is very good because their DeFi space and game space and NFT space are exploding. Yeah, so that's why we are here. Very simple.
Gotcha. So you're going where the people are that you want to serve, basically. This is where the
Yeah,
gamers are accumulating. Oh, one other example too, before we run off of it, that you gave is for access to communities. And the example I pulled up, because I know you guys partnered with Primeapes, and you're going to be doing something basically for them to rent out some of their NFTs to let people into their Alpha Hub. So just tell me
yeah.
about that example in general. It doesn't have to be specific to Primeapes, but that example of how is there any difference to a token gated community in terms of how you guys are approaching it?
Yeah, I have to say, the state is very supportive for us. Yeah, he personally give a lot of helpful suggestions for development. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
here to just to say thanks to Sid. And for the case with Prime Apes, the Prime Apes, they are very simple. They have a great P NFT collection called Prime Apes. Then everyone the holders could use that to access their Alpha Hub channel to get a lot of Alpha. Because the Prime Apes, the floor price is very high. It's close to zero point 0.8 Ethereum, Ether. So
Mm.
it's very high. They think, oh, RentFun is doing the rental marketplace. Why not just a lot of their community who could not afford the Prime Apes, then they could just rent it. Basically, we build a marketplace for the Prime Apes. Then everyone could just rent ape, Prime Ape. Then our contract will record all the rental info, right? Then we will also build a Discord bot because their holders have to join because how to say because their utility of the Prime Apes is to join their Alpha channel in Discord, right? In order to serve the renters to achieve that, we will also build a bot which called rental bot. Very simple. If you are Prime Ape NFT holders, you could just verify your holdings by the Clubland they are using, right? But if you
Yep.
are Prime Ape renters, very simple, verify with rental bot. So this bot will check in which Prime Ape you are renting, what's the ending time of the rental. So after the rental time, your access will be gone. So very simple.
Gotcha. Once a platform like that or a game implements the SDK, then they kind of always have to check if a token is rented. Because if I rent out my Primate, I assume I am not also allowed to go in there and log in, right? Like I've rented away the utility. I can't be using it at the same time as the person I rented it to. Is that correct?
No, because since your utility is rented by the renters, so the owners will lose their access to the Alpha channel. Technically, why is that? Because you transfer your NFT from your personal wallet, which we call EOA wallet, to a contract address. But of course, you are the only owner of the contract address. But still, it's another contract. It's another
Okay.
address.
So it's not really in my original wallet anymore. It's in another wallet that I
Yeah,
do control. So that's what makes it behave a little bit differently. Okay, that makes good sense. That
yeah.
question just popped up in my head as you're going through the examples. That's good. All right, so then getting back on track from the building this thing standpoint, you picked Arbitrum because that's where the people were that you wanted to serve. What was that process like then? Once you decided this was the approach that we're going to go take to this, this is the place we're going to go build it on Arbitrum. What was next? What type of team did you have to pull together? What resources did you need to get started with building something like this?
I think right now our testnet is in development and the UI, UX design, and both the contract part are complete. Now we are moving into the front end dev. Yeah, it takes some time. Maybe just let's say 3 or 4 weeks to finish the front end development. Then that's our process for the product. Then after testnet, we launch the mainnet. That's kind of plan. So at the same time, we are also thinking about maybe raise some funds at some time because right now our fund is funded by the team only. So maybe at some time we will think about raise some funds. So that's basically what we are here right now and what we will do in the next stage. So above that, we want our product launched very very soon, as soon as we can, because we really want to test the real demand of the rental marketplace, of the rental
Mm-hmm.
space. Because right now we have to say the empty rental space is still very early. There's still
Right.
not the definitive product coming out like Uniswap against to all the DEXs. Because when the Uniswap comes out, then all the DEXs are like Uniswap. So the Uniswap is kind of Apple in the in the DEXs.
Sure.
But
Recognize it and know what to do
yeah,
with it, basically. Yep.
yeah, for the empty rental space, there is no such thing coming out. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for RentFun because we didn't know. Yeah, we could guess that. Right now, we are guessing, oh, maybe the renters, they care something very most than we design it. Yeah, that's how we
Mm-hmm.
build our product. But it's a challenge, to be honest, because your guessing may be wrong, maybe not right. Maybe you didn't
Sure.
could come out with a fit product, but also it's a chance. Since there's no no such thing like Uniswap in the empty rental space, then maybe RentFun will be that one.
Yeah,
So we
I'm
hope
with you.
for it to, yeah,
So
go
how do
ahead.
you attack that problem? Because you've got that problem on two fronts at least, right? Because you have that problem with will the renters come and take advantage of this? Will
Yeah,
the owners rent and take advantage of this? I guess three fronts. And then will the games implement it? Will they see this as good or bad? So you have to test out your thesis on all three of them basically. And what's
yeah.
been your approach to that? Let's start with the games. Did you go to the games and say, hey, if we do
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
would you view this as helpful or harmful to
yeah,
your ecosystem?
yeah. Very good question. I say when we start and before we start, we have some talks with the games. And for the upstream eco, we have talked with a lot of founders in the Truth ecosystem. I say Smash and Flock and Astro. Yeah, a lot of them are giving a lot of feedback for us. We have released official partnership with the heroes and the Gideons, yeah, they are not true ecosystem. They are very thrilled with our solution. And for the true games, yeah, we are still having good connections and
Mm-hmm.
communications with them because they want to see our testnet coming out. Then we
Mm-hmm.
decide whether to move next. That's the status of our partnerships on the game side right now. And
Got
for
it.
our
You said it was
approaches,
Eros and
yeah,
Gainlings was the other one?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
These
Got
two
it.
are the officially released. Yeah, still something else. Others, we are still in the communications.
Very cool.
And for the approaches, very simple. Think you are the founder of the realm. Then what's the question you may face? First, first, let's say you maybe care about the utility of the realm NFT asset, right? Right
Mm-hmm.
now, you could just buy it. But the other side, what if a lot of realm holders couldn't or doesn't want to sell? Is
Mm-hmm.
there any way like the post network or staking network in the ERC20 that coming out, let's say, in the empty space? Currently, no. Let's say a lot of ERC20 tokens have a mechanism called staking, right? The V token, let's say
Mm-hmm.
the grill, they have an X grill mechanism, which means that you
Right.
stake, right? But for the empty space, there's none, nothing about the staking mechanism. Yeah, offer them, but you have to reward with ERC20 tokens. That's the magic. Yeah, we know that.
Okay.
But they definitely need something to lock some liquidity or provide some reward system for the empty holders. Then you could think the rental marketplace is definitely a kind of staking mechanism for the NFTs. Because maybe you are NFT owners, you didn't want to sell, then you rent it, or you could just lend it. How to lend it? You just stake your NFT, kind of stake your NFT on the RentFun marketplace, then you gain rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Another is that you couldn't send out. You couldn't just you doesn't have a chance to realize the sell out because maybe the liquidity is dry And also maybe the floor price you didn't want to sell. Then you could
Right.
just use the NFT, RentFun to kind of earn your reward. So I think that's a great scenario. Is that we basically provide NFT staking mechanism or system for NFT projects. And another thing is that they also could earn royalty from every rental transaction happening in fund. So they will boost their treasury. Yeah.
Yep.
And for the cost side, what does it cost? They just need one front dev spends 2 hours finish the integration. That's all.
Sure. So 2 hours integrate. I mean, a lot of testing and things like that, and then maintaining it over time. So like over time, there'll be a little bit more to it than that. I'm a former dev, so anytime someone says 2 hours, I get a little, I get a little antsy. But yeah, no, I get it. It's a straightforward process, and it creates lots of
Yeah.
utility. So that's what's interesting is by making the utility of an NFT liquid, you're actually creating new utility to owning that
Yeah.
NFT, right? Because the existing utility becomes liquid, but then there's new utility to the owner and potentially to the games or the platforms themselves because you're creating new options as you just described, right? I can
Yeah.
mint out 1,000 AOVs and then keep mint 200 extra for the treasury and then rent those out, give people another entry. And then at some point, maybe you sell those off too. So now you've held back some liquidity for yourself later on. It's going to create some interesting mechanics, obviously, that the game's going to have to figure out. And how does that impact their floor price and market value and all those other things? But it's new utility. It's new options for somebody to take advantage of that didn't exist before without this. Yeah, it's all very interesting stuff. From a technical standpoint, what do you need on your team? Obviously, you need to market this idea. You need to make partnerships, et cetera. So you got that whole biz dev and marketing component. You've got, I assume, some Solidity
Yeah.
developers writing contracts.
Yeah.
What else do you need? And I'm thinking
Yeah.
you're talking to the listener who wants to build something, right?
Yeah.
And just walk
Yeah.
them through what was the process like for putting together a team that could accomplish something like this.
Yeah, great question. Because right now, I think for dev side, because both me and Kevin, our co-founder, another co-founder, have joined this space for a long time. So I think could handle the technical or the development side, or product
Mm-hmm.
design or product development side. But to be honest, we are not very good at marketing or branding. Yeah, yeah, for the
Gotcha.
Wonderbird
Common
empty
challenge.
collection,
Common
yeah, to be
challenge, my
honest,
friend.
for the Wonderbird collection, we have 1K, 1,000 in the total, but we only sold out around, let's say, 50 or 60. So a lot of Wonderbird are still in our door cherry. Don't worry because we will make Wonderbird have great utility, and also when the timing is right, run, we will list them and rent them out on our own marketplace.
That
So
works. Is eat your own dog food. As you're building this thing, you're setting yourself up to do that. That's good.
yeah. But I think in the end, I think the great product will tell everything. So even though we are not good at the marketing or branding, yeah, and let it go. We just
Gotcha.
put a lot of energy and resources to think about what's the right product for NFT rental marketplace. Then how we could build something like that out. Then
Yep.
that's all.
Got it. Okay. Very good. So focusing on the technical right now, what have been the challenges on that front? Yeah.
Of course, because there are some risks. We actually, when we started this journey, the first thing, of course, we have to talk about what we want to go. And another thing is that important thing we have to consider is that the risks. We have to know the risks. The first is that is we're running out of the funds. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
projects, especially in this bearish market, a lot of good projects maybe they could just fail because of losing funds. Of course, that risk we have to consider it. But right now,
Yep.
I think our team's funds could just last for about 2 years of the runway, and but still good. We have some funds raised. So another thing is about besides round, another thing is about our insights. Because lots of great projects only come out when the founders or the core teams have the greatest insights that could lead this market. Let's say the Uniswap or other big products, they come out the same way. I think the risks may be, let's say, maybe right now or maybe in the future or some anything at some point, me, the funds core team, or my insights that could not lead this market. Maybe our insights is out of the date. Then you couldn't know, oh, what's the right demand, what's the real demand of these our users, or what's the right go-to-market strategy, and what's the right how to make right decisions. So the insights is very important. So we have to keep learning,
Yep.
talking with our real users, potential users, our partnerships, and a lot of reading. Yeah, and you have to do a lot of reading to improve your insights. That's very important. So we actually, personally, I believe one thing: a lot of things only come from great insights. If we fail, it only will prove one thing: our the insights from the core team are not matching this. So that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, right on. And it's failure is part of entrepreneurship, right? And is part of building and taking that risk for sure. So it's good for the listener to hear that, especially anybody contemplating going off and doing something. It's definitely not all rainbows and unicorns going to do this stuff. It's hard work. And yeah, sometimes you get hurt. Definitely respect that. So as you look ahead here, a couple things. You mentioned the Wonderbirds NFT project as well that you guys already launched. So let's just touch
Yeah.
on that quickly. What was the thinking there? What made you guys launch that in the first place?
First thing that we are solving a problem of his utility, right? We think we could have our own collection called Wonderbird, which is a utility experiment. Because when you look into the categories of NFT, you could see PFPs and also the games and the metaverse. Actually, another important is called membership card. So we think, oh, we could have that something. Then we think, oh, we should have that experiment to explore how we could empower RentFun platform with this NFT collection. So that's our general idea. Then why we choose to issue before the testnet coming out? Because we want a membership card, because we want Wonderbird MT coming out at the very beginning, so we could explore its utility at different stages. Right now, we use it as
Yep.
governance token, so everyone could just vote, for the big improvements proposals of RentFun. When the testnet come out, the first testers will be the Wonderbird holders when they could just submit bug reports, maybe some suggestions, which will help them to gain or receive higher RentFun scores, which we have some use for the futures Rent token airdrop. Anyway, another thing is that when the marketplace is released out, the Wonderbird holders will get a great discount on the commissions.
Okay. So you got the Wonderbird token out there. I'm sorry, the Wonderbird NFT out there, and then ultimately, from a governance standpoint, that's going to be swapped out for a rent token. Is that right? Is that still in the works?
Actually, you could, because if you had a Wonderbird NFT, then you will be the first batch of the community to test our testnet. Then you have a very good chance to submit the bug reports, all the UI UX optimization suggestions. These contributions will help you to get contribution scores. The contribution scores will have a great influence on the future's Rent token airdrop. So
So
yeah,
there's some opportunities to participate, if you will, in building some of
yeah,
these things out and testing some of these things out. And there could be some rewards for that participation. I
yeah,
just meant that ultimately the plan is to launch a token, and that token will be used for future governance by whatever means you launch that token. That's what I was referring to. So there is a token coming at some point. And just tell us
yeah,
about that from a standpoint, again, thinking about other potential founders out here listening. What do you think about before you launch token? That's not a small deal.
yeah. Actually, the token have different, we have different rounds of talking about when should we bring out the token. Yeah, actually, in the in the past 5 years, full-time years in the crypto, I have different thoughts in different stage for the tokens. But right now, I think the token actually have two attributes. The first is that a lot of projects are doing that. They are using the token to expand their adoption or expand their community. But actually, right now, our preference is that maybe before we expand our adoption or expand our community, we first make sure we have found the right flywheel of our product. If you look into a great case, let's say Blur. Yeah, Blur. Actually, Blur, they are kind of master to use their token to expand their adoption, right? There's also a score, a point system. Actually, before they release this token airdrop plan, actually they develop their products privately for 6 months. I think, I personally think, because I didn't have talks with them, but in my mind, during that 6 months, they are testing their product privately and trying to find the real flywheel of their product. Only you find that right flywheel, then you use the leverage of your token to expand your adoption. So right now, I think we should really to think about what's the flywheel of RentFun. Are they right? Only when we make sure these two questions have the right answers, we think, then we could just choose the right timing to release our token.
Yep, right on. No, I think that approach shows through too, right? So I do hold a Wonderbird. I do hang out in the Discord now and then and see what you guys are up to, and I can see you're building out in the open, right? And there's weekly dev updates that put out, here's what we're working on, soliciting feedback, etc. So I think that's a great approach. And then ratchet it up once you know you're in the right spot, because otherwise you could succeed at ratcheting up the wrong thing, right? And end up in a spot where you've been, outwardly have the appearance of being successful, but maybe didn't accomplish what you were trying to accomplish. And there's a big difference there. So very cool. Definitely something for the would-be founders and the audience to be thinking about too. Fast growth may or may not work depending on what you're trying to accomplish at the end. So I guess the thing there would be just make sure you know what you're trying to accomplish and only do things that help you accomplish that thing. So as you look ahead here, Blank, yeah, as you look ahead here, basically, what's your timeline? What are you on right now? You guys are about to launch in testnet with some contracts. Like, when do we see that? When do we see marketplaces? When do you think, best guess, right? All these things are up in the air and tend to change. But when do you think somebody might be able to rent an Eros character or rent a Gainling or something like that?
Our testnets have a good chance will be released in July.
Okay, very nice. Coming up very quick then. So we're recording here. This is the first week of June still. So coming up quick. And then from there, what's your best guess at timelines in terms of where you're coming, or what comes after that? What comes after the testnet?
After testnets, we have to do the public testing and also some security audits. Maybe just 1 or 2 months, we will just release the beta of our mainnet.
Got it. Okay, very cool. And then for the listener here, where can they go to learn more, check things out? Obviously, you got to break down the whole everything, get the Wonderbird token out there. Where can people go to get connected and take part in the ecosystem?
We welcome everyone to follow our Twitter and or join our Discord. Actually, we have we welcome everyone who are interested in the future of RentFun to join in our early bird program to be the early supporters of RentFun, because we want it will be governed and contribute or operate by our community. So we welcome everyone who are interested to join in this program to contribute your talents. Maybe you are good at writing content. Maybe you are good at making videos. Maybe you are good at UI UX design. You could just coming up great suggestions for our products. Then you will get the contribution scores. Then one day when the rent tokens bring out, you will get a corresponding airdrop of rent tokens. Our code of the RentFun community is that co-contribute, co-govern, and co-share.
Perfect. So yeah, lots of ways to get involved, lots of ways to influence all of this. And then obviously if you do those things, an opportunity possibly in the future to benefit from that too. Blanklee, appreciate you coming on and taking the time to share with us. RentFun.io is the website. As you said, Twitter, Discord, people can get involved. There's a Wonderbirds NFT out there if you want to get actively involved, and the Early Birds program if you want to be hands-on, influence the product and the ecosystem that way. Lots of opportunities to get involved. Yeah, Blank, it's been great talking with you, man. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, me too. It's a very honor to be here and to talk about RentFun and meet with new friends. Yeah. Thanks for your hosting. Great hosting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. To you, the listener, thanks for joining us here on Ready Layer 2, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Ready Layer 2. If you're an Arbitrum builder with a story to share, then hit me up on Twitter at GitSmall, GITSMOL. Learn more at gitsmall.com.